So this is my setup for making maple syrup. I do it the traditional way with a bucket on the tree and just let the sap drip. As you can see, I'll walk up a little closer here. The sap does not drip that fast, but that's a pretty good flow rate right there. Yeah, if it does that for a day, you get a full bucket. That's all you can expect. Through this area in the bush here, I have about 25 trees tapped at the moment. That's all I actually do is 25. Sometimes I do a little less. But this year I got all 25. It's a little later this year than normal. A little bit of snow in the bush, but in some areas there's still quite a bit of snow. I'm hoping to get a good run this year. This is the setup that I use for boiling down the sap. It's a 60-liter pot, approximately 15 US gallons. I fill it up to about 4 or 5 inches to the top and then let it boil down. And then I preheat the other sap, usually on a propane burner, and before I pour it in, because it takes so long when the sap's down near the freezing temperature first thing in the morning to bring it back up to the boil. I'll be bringing out another pot in just a minute to add into there, because we're down about 10 inches in that pot right now. It's boiling pretty good. This is the burner that I use to preheat the sap before I throw it into the pot that's already at the boil. Just keeps the pot boiling. You know, got to get that pot evaporated down. Usually on a good year you can get, it's about 40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup. So I don't know what this year will bring, but we'll find out. This is another pot that I have that I preheat the sap before I pour it in. It's about a US gallon size. I just don't want to slow the boil up too much, so I do this just so I'm not wasting a whole lot of wood. If you like sitting around watching a pot boil, this is the life for you. Today it's about 34 degrees right now, that's Fahrenheit. So it's nice sitting here trying to stay warm by the fire. This is what you do most of the time when you're making maple syrup. You sit around just feeding the fire with the wood, watching the pot boil. Here's a close-up of the pot. It's pretty hard to see inside. The pot is a stainless steel pot. It's a little blackened up right now with all the creosote and the soot from the fire, but that's the best for using when you're boiling over an open fire like this. I finished the final boiling down process over this propane burner. It's easier to control the heat. If it starts to boil too rapidly, you can turn it down. Plus you got to get in there to get the temperature, so it's a little better in the smaller pot. What you have to do is you have to get the sap to 103 degrees Celsius or 219.2 Fahrenheit. So 212 is boiling point in Fahrenheit, so you're 7.2 degrees higher, and 100 Celsius is boiling point, so you have to get it 3 degrees above the boiling point Celsius. I like to actually boil my sap, get a little thicker syrup, so I usually go to 220 degrees Fahrenheit. I use a small thermometer like this, and it's only in Fahrenheit, so I'm going to go until it hits 220. It's at a boil here right now, and it's a very strong maple smell coming off the pot right now. Just to show you, this is what the final product looks like. That is pure maple syrup, nothing added to it. Sterilized jars, I put it in at a temperature of 170 Fahrenheit so that it's sterilized in the bottle. Put the tamper-proof caps on it. You have to sterilize the cap, so when you first put it in, you lay it down. You make sure everything gets good and hot in there. And don't know if you can see it, but that's a fairly thick syrup. That's the way I like it. And that's what I'm gonna do with this, is get it to 220, and then I'll call that done.